35. It was true. There he was, the mad guru, the guy who hung out in William Lloyd Floyd's bookstore, picking his way through the underbrush. Well, well, the mad guru said as he approached us. Where in Waka Waka did you two come from? We had both realized by this time that the mad guru was not visible in both the almost identical worlds we could see. This may be hard to understand, but we were both getting used to looking at two worlds at once. It was as though someone had drawn a picture of a tree in winter on a piece of thin paper and then traced the picture of the tree and added leaves as if it were summer. Then imagine holding one picture over the other, but not exactly lined up, and holding them both up to the light. We could see the ruins of Herzensheimer's Oriental Gardens in winter, which is what we would have expected to see, and at the same time we could see Herzensheimer's Oriental Gardens in full summer foliage. We could see these things at the same time, and we could see both of them separately. It was confusing, but not as confusing as you might think. It was like looking at one thing and listening to another at the same time. What was surprising about the Mad Guru was that he was in the summertime picture, the parallel plane of existence, not in our everyday world where we were used to seeing him. What are you doing here? We both asked at once. That's what I asked you, the Mad Guru said. I don't recall ever having seen you before. Sure you have, Aln Mndlshn said. We met you at William Lloyd Floyd's bookstore. We had lunch together, and we also met in the street once, and then we saw you when I sold my comic books. Are you sure? The Mad Guru asked. I think you may have got me mixed up with somebody else. Aren't you the Mad Guru? I asked. No, my brother Arnie is the Mad Guru. My name is Lance Herschelsheimer. Wait a minute, Aln Mndlshn said. Are you the Lance Herschelsheimer who used to own Herschelsheimer's Oriental Gardens? I still own them, the man said. And disappeared a long time ago, Aln Mndlshn said. Do I look as if I disappeared, the man said. Although I suppose when you go from one place or plane to another, you could be said to have disappeared from the place you used to be. But one never thinks of oneself as having disappeared because one is always right there, if you know what I mean. I didn't disappear so much as leave. What I did was leave the city of Hogborough in the United States of America, in whatever plane of reality those planes exist, to come and live here in Waka Waka, just as you have. This is Waka Waka? I asked. It is, Lance Herschelsheimer said. And you came here? Aln Mndlshn asked. I did. How? State 26, same as anybody who comes to live here, same as you. But we thought we were the first Earth people ever to obtain State 26 by our own will, Aln Mndlshn said. Nonsense, Lance Herschelsheimer said. Where'd you get a strange idea like that? Clarence Jimbo, the Venusian hippie, Lance Herschelsheimer exclaimed. He's madder than my brother Arnie. He was here a few months ago with a bunch of 800-year-old men on motorcycles, folk singers they were. He's wrong about State 26. That's how I got here. That's how lots of people get here who want to live in Waka Waka instead of their old world. We didn't come to live here, I said. I was getting a little nervous. Of course you did, my boy, Lance Herschelsheimer said. Nobody ever goes back. This worried me quite a bit. I hadn't counted on going to live in Waka Waka. I didn't even know if I liked it. And besides, there were my parents and Melvin, the dog, and grandfather, and the old one. They wouldn't know where I was. Obviously, Aln Mndlshn was worried too by Lance Herschelsheimer's insistence that nobody ever goes back. Mr. Herschelsheimer, he asked, is it warm or is it cold? Why, it's warm, Lance Herschelsheimer said. It's always warm, or at least mild, in Waka Waka. Do you see any leaves on the trees? I asked. Excuse me, young fellow, but I think you're asking me silly questions, Lance Herschelsheimer said. Is there any point at all to this? Yes, there is, Aln Mndlshn said. We'll explain in a moment, but first, please answer the question. Do the trees have leaves? Of course the trees have leaves, Lance Herschelsheimer said impatiently. It's the middle of summer. It's been the middle of summer for 25 years. That's how the seasons are here. Every tree has leaves. None of them are bare, I asked. Not one, Lance Herschelsheimer said. Now what's all this about? One more question, Aln Mndlshn said. Hogborough, the place you used to live, Can you see it now? Certainly not, Lance Herschelsheimer said. I'm here, not there. Well, you see, Mr. Herschelsheimer, Aln Mndlshn said, I think Leonard and I, by the way, this is my friend Leonard Niebel, and I am Aln Mndlshn. Glad to meet you, Lawrence Herschelsheimer said. I think we're here and there. I'll explain. Right now, it's the beginning of the winter in Hogborough. All the leaves have fallen. The trees are bare. The weather is fairly cold. We can see and feel that. At the same time, we can see and feel the summer in Waka Waka. We can see you, but only in the Waka Waka summer. In the Hogborough winter, you do not exist. Well, if that's true, that's really something out of the ordinary, Lawrence Herschelsheimer said. I thought only extraterrestrials could go back and forth between planes like that. My goodness. Well, that's how it is, Aln Mndlshn said. If that's the case, I bet you could take a message to my brother Arnie, the mad guru, Lawrence Herschelsheimer said. He's probably still wondering what happened to me, but you'll be wanting to learn more about Waka Waka. It's an ideal society. I was just getting ready to ask Lawrence Herschelsheimer some questions about the ideal society of Waka Waka when he suddenly grabbed Aln Mndlshn and me by the shoulders and pushed us down behind a bush. Duck! Duck! Lawrence Herschelsheimer said. Don't make a sound if you value your lives. Lawrence Herschelsheimer crouched with us behind the bush. He was sweating. It was easy to see he was really scared. Aln Mndlshn and I were scared too. We couldn't see or hear anything out of the ordinary. We wondered what it was that Lawrence Herschelsheimer had noticed to frighten him so. After a while, Lance Herschelsheimer seemed to relax. That was a close one, he sighed. A close one? I asked. A close call, Lance Herschelsheimer said. It almost got us that time. What did? Aln Mndlshn said. What did? Lance Herschelsheimer repeated. The thing without a name. The accursed thing. The unspeakable awfulness. It does their bidding. Their bidding? Who are they? Aln Mndlshn asked. Not now, boy. I'll explain it later, Lance Herschelsheimer said, raising one finger. But Mr. Herschelsheimer, I said, I didn't see or hear anything. Then it's lucky that you were with me, Lance Herschelsheimer said. I'm especially good at sensing the presence of the unseen attacker, the invisible antagonist, the ineffable ickiness. I know when it's near. That's why I can walk around like this, in the open, with relative safety. You boys are all right as long as you're with me. When I say duck, you duck. Wait a minute, Aln Mndlshn said. What exactly is this terrible monster? That's good, Lance Herschelsheimer said. The terrible monster, the terrific molester, the terrorist mangler, that's very good. Well, what's it all about? I asked. Who are they? I told you, later, Lance Herschelsheimer said. Now I can continue to show you around the ideal society without trouble. The intangible trouncer seldom appears with more than once in a day. Some ideal society, Aln Mndlshn whispered to me. Lance Herschelsheimer overheard him. Everything is relative, he said. When you've seen the benefits of Waka Waka, you'll realize that the unexampled eviscerator is a minor inconvenience by comparison. This I've got to see, Aln Mndlshn said, and we followed Lance Herschelsheimer through the Oriental Gardens, which bore his name.